shit. Set everything up.
So that's your mic right there. It's about to be about 30 minutes and stuff like that, just to get you in and out, just to make it easy. So, yeah, let's get started. We'll start in 3, 2, 1. Alright, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are at. My name is Del Gampe, and welcome back to another segment of a Low-Key Podcast. Recently, as the week's gone by, I've thought about the idea of authenticity, more importantly, innovation, and just kind of changing the norm, as people say nowadays. But one person one of my special guests today has been doing that for a while as of recently, and is not even starting, but he's making his path, the best way he knows how to make his path. And so if you want to introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jeffrey Graham. Do I have to do that Hampton intro and all that, man? Okay, so I'm Jeff. I am the senior marketing officer for Celui Company. I have this brand with a business partner of mine, and we've been kind of running this for about 2 years now, and everything been free flowing. So it's good to be here.
All right. So one thing, a couple words when describing Celui that I've been kind of peeping, had to pick up on when I'm doing my research is, high quality sleekness, class, and luxury.
For sure.
What does that mean to you?
That's just kind of like the standard at which we live. Like, it's bigger than just, the clothes. Honestly, we have just a level of like attitude and just a level of a lifestyle that we want to live. And that's just a reflection in the product that we pick out. I did a little bit of like interior design when I left school originally. So like just that and learning, just what I like and what I'd like to see kind of also plays into just like the luxury, the lifestyle aspect of how we deliver our clothes and the meaning behind a lot of the pieces too.
So, to start off, what does success mean to you?
Success is, to me, it's an adventure. Success is a positive adventure of always like evolving into something more positive. I look at success as just another opportunity of doing something based on, the accomplishments that you did and whatever you did last. Just like I feel like I'm successful in things the more opportunities that I get, because it always just seems like it's something that's another opportunity that's based on something that I've done before. So like just kind of speaking to the brand, to just kind of who I am. I mean, I'm still a student, so like just even the job opportunities and the internship opportunities I've gotten as a result of just like a lot of the experiences and just my business acumen now. All that is, all that speaks to just like, things that have happened
in the journey
over time. Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Success for real.
So, say it one more time for me.
Salute.
I'm sorry about that. I saw that means the one, understanding individualism, stuff like that. How important is that to you, and are you not seeing that as much now in fashion, or not even in fashion in general, but just in the creative space? Or do you think that we're slightly seeing a lot of people being versatile with their individualism?
I think now more than ever we're seeing people that are a lot more different or creative in their own ways.
Yeah.
I think just as someone that based their brand off individualism, is just another idea of another sector of it. We started Celui just really based on who we feel like we are socially, like our influences and the backgrounds that we come from, and the way we've been able to impact where we've come from. Based on all that, it's a mixture of style, but it's also just like knowing your personality and what you've been able to, the people that you've been able to gravitate towards, and who's been able to gravitate to you. That's really kind of been the forefront of the brand. But as far as like, how fashion is evolving and everything, I feel like it's always been something that's allowed people to express themselves. But I think more than ever, we're getting to a point where like people are really doing what they want to do.
Is that sometimes doing what you want to do? Is that sometimes a good thing or a bad thing, depending on like what direction you go in?
Yes, I would say it's definitely depending on what direction you want to go in. When I say doing what you want to do, I mean that's just more from a creativity aspect.
Understand.
But from when it comes to like business and handling everything, just more so on an organizational side, there is just a level of, there's just a format
Yeah.
that I feel like you have to follow, or at least like have some kind of organization towards, in order to be kind of respected in the industry, especially like as an upcoming brand.
So let's take it back. Was this always the vision? Was this what you had? Did you always have that, certain aesthetic, that vision? Okay, this is a brand I want to create. This is a movement I want to create.
So actually, my business partner came to me about the brand first. Me and Graylin have always been friends. We've been friends for a little while. Kind of had mutual friends through high school and then early college. But he's also 2 years older than me, so like he's been able to like build his business acumen and things of that nature. So this was just like another interest, fun form of income for him. And he was just like, yo, I want to start a clothing brand. And originally when he came to me with the idea, I was just like, nah, I don't really want to do a clothing brand, just because I value creativity, I value the process, and I just kind of felt like, especially just like where I'm from, a lot of people don't really follow the business side. Like, it's cool to have a dope product. I've seen plenty of dope product, but in terms of just like really following just the business format and really being willing to learn more, and perfecting your craft on the business side, I haven't really seen that. And so I was just kind of hesitant to go into it, but he was able to really like organize his thoughts, his ideas, some names that he had for the brand. Like, Celui wasn't the only thing that we had, so he presented it to me that way, and he also said that a varsity jacket was something that like he wanted to be like the centerpiece. And so me kind of being in like marketing, I was able to kind of like create a story around it, and then also like be able to take things from just like our personal experiences. But ultimately, just to like answer your question, this wasn't like the our overall viewpoint of like what what we wanted it to be. I think we're still being very intentional about what we want the brand to be. It's just now like, all right, learning the pieces and understanding that everything isn't gonna happen and it's easy. Like, all right, step by step order. We're at a pivoting phase, but we definitely are enjoying the process and learning.
So, kind of going into that process, if you can talk about it a little bit, a lot of times clothing brands, not a lot of times, but some clothing brands come out with different lines like this, like you talked about. But taking time, like you said, to come up with the material, to come up with a story behind it, does the time matter to make a clothing brand very successful, or do you think that?
Yeah, I think the time, if anything, speaks to the quality of the piece. I think when you think into the details, the rollout, time is the time that you put in to make sure those kinds of things are met is extremely important. I mean, that's just from a delivery side. That's not even from just like a putting a product together type. Like, it's literally two different sides that take just as much time for real. Like, getting the piece in itself developed is a process, because I mean, all these other brands, a lot of these luxury brands, I mean, they kind of have like a rinse, wash, repeat process now. But in terms of like a startup brand, you got to find out what these different fabrics and these different materials are that they use. You got to learn the selling process. You got to learn like the what retail looks like in terms of like potentially getting your item in a store, and just like what longevity you need to have in a brand to be able to put those kinds of things in the store. And then that's just from like the entry level business side. And then on the other side, you got the marketing side of it. So like really finding out new ways to engage your audience and keep a following and gaining a following, like just continuing to grow on a media side, on a content side, without dropping new product every time. It's just like, how can we be more creative and engaging? That in itself is like a big those two factors in themselves are like extremely important.
So, touching back to the idea of the story that you described, and that urban story that you guys created with, first coming out with the varsity jacket, and really not really pitching it, but just creating a vision that everybody can relate to in a sense, but then also people will want to go towards, to pick it up, to actually be able to, connect with it and stuff like that. As a marketing major and as, businessman yourself, how important is the story and selling that story?
It's extremely important because anybody can make a dope product.
Yeah.
You just want to. I think one of the things, actually, me and my business partner have been reading a book called "This Is Not a T-Shirt" by Bobby Hundreds, and it really just tells the story of the Hundreds brand. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it literally tells like their 15-year tenure, like the story of just their ups and downs. And one of the important things that he talked about in the early stages of their business development was really building a community, building some support behind your brand. And I think that in itself is something extremely important when it comes to creating product, because you want people to be able to have something that they can reference it to, something that they can relate to in the product. With the varsity jacket, just to kind of give you some background, I mean, the varsity jacket, we look at it as just like it's a centerpiece. Like when you think of it, like even in the 90s or the early 2000s in high school, like the jacket was for the athlete, the star athlete, or like, when you think of like TV, you think of like the quarterback or somebody from Fresh Prince that was just like an athlete, somebody who was just like well respected, right? Mm-hmm. And so that archetype is just something that's reflective to like who we view ourselves as, and that's kind of always when we want to bring that piece back around. But that in itself, we want people to carry that individualism, that archetype of the one, that person of importance. When they put the jacket on, we want it to be something you could wear as like what we call an everyday track, like something you could just wear with anything, and it's something that you could also get fly in, something you could throw over like, your business pro, like a button down and a white and a black tie. You feel me? So like, just it's versatile. So like, and that speaks to who we are as individuals. So that's kind of just like some background on it. But I hope I answered your question.
Nah, you did. I appreciate it because it's helping me more to see not just the brand, but the story. And I think a lot of times as consumers, we just see the focal point of, okay, this jacket came out, this t-shirt came out, but we don't know, okay, this person put in the time, the effort, the energy, and created, their vision.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I mean, we at a point now also like in fashion where everyone's creative, but like the pieces are kind of like repeating themselves. Yeah. Like fashion always repeats itself, obviously, but like, we are at a period where you see a lot of brands that have varsity jackets. And so as a startup brand, it's like, all right, if we're gonna make a varsity jacket, what can it be? What can we create a community from it on? Like, Off-White got a varsity jacket, and we don't, I mean, it's obviously gonna be a piece that they can put together and be dope and it work. But in terms of just like building a community, building the support, especially off like your social networks and things of that nature, like you wanna build it off something that people can relate to. And so that's kind of where we building our brand off of, and that's kind of where the rest of the pieces will come from as well.
So where do y'all pull this inspiration from? Music, pop culture, what is it?
So it's a variety of things. So my business partner also does A&R for Audio Mac. So he's really tapped in with the music industry. But we've always been like really appreciative of just like the art in general. We are big fans of like, Basquiat. We read like art books and just like all the time, like Ralph Lauren. We watch interviews, just like really like students to the culture. We look at like Pharrell videos, old archives of Lil Wayne, Kanye, and just really like pull inspiration. And we have literally like albums of just like stuff that we find just like maybe on a random, and we just kind of pull from there, and then we brainstorm. We have like a graphic designer, so we brainstorm kind of with him, and he helps us bring that vision to life. But like really, it's all like off the love of just the process. I mean, you really gotta enjoy it and really like put together all the things that you love to like really make this product, and that's why it means so much to us, because it's like, man, we create not necessarily like a code, but it's like it's a language in which if you value detail, if you value like just the art, if you value just an experience that comes with your clothes, it's something that you'll appreciate a lot more when you wearing a piece, or like if you supporting the brand.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's tough. Okay, because as I was scrolling through my research, looking at the gallery, seeing Muhammad Ali, seeing Kanye, seeing Pharrell, as you touched on earlier, and just taking those iconic people, those iconic figures, and those moments in history and then putting it and creating a history of your own type stuff. I think that's fly. That's
Yeah,
cool.
appreciate it, man. That's the Muhammad Ali is actually from my most recent collection, Contra T. Ipsum, which is basically you against yourself. So like that is our newest drop, and it's actually I don't really want to like get too ahead, but just to kind of give you some background, like we are at a point, and then this is just also kind of reflecting on just some experiences that me and my business partner are just kind of like, at a point of, he also sells real estate, he do like cybersecurity, so like he hustles, and so obviously me being in college, my last year, making that transition, trying to figure out, all right, I'm at a point where I'm considering law school, and you know what I'm saying, things of that nature. So we at a point where any of the things that we want to do in our lives is like we are the barriers that's going to get in between that. Obstacles aren't really like obstacles if you don't look at them that way. So like
just stepping stones.
So we realize that we are the only ones that can stop ourselves from our success. And so that in itself is just like a brief, like kind of preview. I'm gonna let the conversation continue.
I mean, it's real rap with the idea of you versus yourself, because it's always, we say that it's our environment that impacts us. It's maybe the people we surround ourselves with, but we make choices and determine how far we want to go and what we're gonna do. So that's real. So kind of getting back to the idea of fashion, but kind of touching more back into you. Have you always been fly? Gotta ask that. Has it been something that
I don't even think I'm still fly. Like it's funny that you say that, man. Like I mean, I come from like the homies that I got. Like even like my business partner, he one of the fly dudes. Like even just the guys back at home. It's just like so many different. Like when I think of my homie Manny from the crib, when I think of Kadari from the crib, like those are guys that in high school I was like, damn, like them niggas kind of got it. Like they clean, like they just like. They understood the fashion, like they just wore all the fly stuff. And I mean, I'm honestly like, I've always just kind of had a humble understanding of what being fly. Like I always knew what fly was. Like I always knew what the fly stuff was, but I always knew it was like expensive. So unless you got your bread right, you can't even really tap into it the way you want to. But nah, I think I'm still like just kind of in my student stages for real, like just learning the game. But nah, I think I've always been attentive. Like I've always wanted to, like even as a youngin', like I like matching colors. Like my mom would always kind of just give me like little pieces. I just value like just history behind clothes, or just like a smart gradient behind clothes. And I mean, like I said, I've always followed people that I've always followed, like ASAP, Ye, Pharrell. Like I used to literally like sit at like when I went to this school called Philip Berry back at home. And when I transferred there, I used to like my first year, like I was literally like I was on the basketball team, but I was eating by myself, like at lunch, literally watching YouTube videos of like Pharrell behind the scenes, or like Lil Wayne behind the scenes, like they going through his his trailer, and like just I remember like the Amelie video, like the behind the scenes video where they like going through his wardrobe and they like picking his clothes, and I used to like literally just watch that kind of stuff all the time. So I was always aware of the brands. I had Pharrell, the board flips in high school, so like I had this stuff, but I wasn't wearing it like a fashionista type dude. I was just like somebody that had it, that was like a fan of it. You feel me? Like I'm white tee, cargo pants, board flips on some skater type. But
okay. Well, kind of going back into that, like you said, fashion's always repeating itself. So do you think that now, the age that we're in, fashion's kind of moving into a range where it's starting to become too much of a trend? Because I think we always throw out fashion and the worst trends together.
Yeah, but I think fashion just sets a trend. I don't think like it's like just a trend that we can see. Like we're not going to be able to like catch what's coming next.
Gotcha.
I think unfortunately we can see a lot of brands begin to kind of copy each other and make, especially like more on the higher end scale, like just make something that they see is like, all right, this is what the more creatives are kind of coming up with now. How can we kind of beat this and then, attract a more mass, customer base. But I think and I think that's just more so on a mainstream level. Like I feel like if you are a fan of just the industry, if you are a fan of creativity, I mean, you will find like the intricate pieces, or like even just the brands that might not be as big as the big luxury brands. Like um, you will find the intricate stuff in there.
That's right. So going into another direction, but kind of tying back in music. You know, music impacts all of us. Music impacts the culture. What would you say your top three artists that maybe help you get inspired or put you in the right space? What are those artists?
Man, that's actually kind of hard right now because I'm in a place where I just kind of been like I've always been like a hard rap type dude, but like just kind of trying to get away from, not even get away, but like just kind of open my horizons to more like just more creative style music. And just also like hanging around my business partner a lot more. He's a lot more like hip to just like all the music that's out right now. So like I kind of just like whenever he sends some or plays some, I'm kind of just like listening to it. I really, and people on camera will tell you this too. Like I really been getting on some like UK type stuff recently. Like I really do like the UK rappers. Like I can't even remember the dude's name right now. I think it's like David or something like that. I don't know, but I like the UK rappers. But in terms of just like what I listen to that kind of just gets me in that mode, yay. Obviously, I'm a big like Benny the Butcher fan for real. Davies, Conway the Machine. I like lyricists, like people that can just put words together for real. Like obviously like you know the big like Kendricks and like you know, everybody know them, the Coles and all that. But I like rap that I can resonate with. So yeah, I like them kind of rappers. But yeah, I think Ye obviously helps everybody get in that creative zone.
How you do it? Classic Ye or
classic Ye for sure. I mean, it's some new Ye that I could get with, but like if you like, I appreciate just all the old classic Ye for real. Like it's just so many different phases, and then just kind of learning the stories more, like just about Ye, like over the years, and just like how he's kind of surfaced. It's just like, bro, he's been like this, you know. So I mean, I ain't saying I 100% support all the decisions that you know he puts out there, but from a creative aspect, like you gotta respect it.
For real. Because he's been innovating.
Like he at the top, bro. Like he breaded a lot of these cats out now.
So kind of wrapping this up, authenticity. Do you think is important to have your authentic self throughout the whole entire journey, or do you think that, well, of course, obviously, but do you think that when finding your authentic self, it takes a lot of time, or do you think you just have it off rip?
I think you can have it off rip. I just think authenticity comes from distance. I think authenticity comes from just having time to yourself and really like learning yourself. Which is kind of hard in this age, being that we have like social media, we have like just so much more accessibility to people without even being with them or being around them, and that's just kind of why you know sometimes we see things that are just like you can tell they're fake, you know. So no, I think authenticity. I think it is a process. I think it is an evolving process. I think it's something like, you just don't have it all at once unless you are just one of those people that's like, I am who I am, and like it or not, like this is just me 24/7. Like I think it is a process where you have to kind of be by yourself or take some time alone to kind of really like either build knowledge or really just like carve out your creativity for real. Like you just gotta like, whether that's getting in the lab and like just if you're an artist like drawing, or like if you're into music, just like get in the lab and just continuously making music or making time to do it. Or whether that's really just like learning more about your craft, like reading, doing research, just seeing what the competition is doing, seeing what how the industry is changing. Like I'm learning now, like it's way bigger than just, you know, just being creative. It's educating yourself on the system, and so that in itself, like you can find avenues where you can be a lot more creative and stuff.
It's definitely real. So, do you think that as you know, you continue your journey, like do you think, or have you noticed that sometimes that alone time kind of picks up a little bit more than usual, or do you think that because you touched on you have to be alone to figure out yourself, to figure out what you're supposed to be doing and all that type of stuff, but do you think that too much alone time can be bad?
No, well, no. I feel like too much alone time can be bad if you're not testing the effectiveness of like your creativity. Like if you're not like putting work out, or like if you're not like willing to get feedback from whatever work you're producing, whether that be from a friend, a business partner, shoot, your customer consumer base, or whoever your support group is. If you're not putting nothing out there, I mean, yeah, you're spending too much time.
Yeah.
For me personally, I feel like I'm at a point where like my alone time is starting to shrink. Like I went from like being a transfer at Hampton and like kind of having to create a name for myself and like really put myself out there on the academic and campus engagement level, to now finally like becoming Greek, to like my brand beginning to grow a lot more, to like my availability for my brand kind of having to shift a little bit. So like I done got on Royal Court, so like all that kind of stuff is like minimizing my creative time. So now I'm at a point where I have to manage and make sure that I'm making that time for my creativity, because I mean my business is a priority.
I hate to interject, but like how hard is that? Because there's a lot of people that sometimes when they got their own brands and they then also have other engagements that they have to get into, finding that time to balance all that is difficult as hell. So how do you do it?
I mean, I'm still learning for real. Like it's a learning process every day, and I have to understand that, you only I'm spiritual too, so like only God knows like how your week, how your future is gonna turn out. So like the only thing you can do is really like get up at the best of your ability and try to tackle things. Like trust your body. If your body's not in for it, if you feel like you're just being overexhausted, like trust yourself and tell yourself you need a break. But it's extremely hard. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I forgot your question for real. Like I'm just sitting here like just thinking about it. But and what I try to do is just like I create a list at the top of the week, like of things that I need to accomplish. Obviously academically first. I realize like this is my last year, so like I also see when you get a job, you realize you get like, or not even if you get a job, but like when you graduate, you can organize your life a lot easier than you can when you got like a class schedule and extracurriculars and things of that nature. Like everything kind of just, you lose a lot of that stuff. So now I'll have a lot more time after this year. But my academics are my priority, so I put that first, and then I check off, all right, what things do I need to do that could sharpen my business acumen? What things can improve my business? Like I'm checking all those kinds of stuff off at the top of the week, and then throughout the week, like I'm making sure that I'm hitting those things. I'm also big on like just making sure I'm trying to get in the gym now. So like just making those kinds of time just for like my mental, making sure I'm eating at least 3 times a day, just to make sure like I'm not just overexhausting myself. Like so yeah, just staying on top for real.
All right, so to kind of wrap this up, what are next steps, short term, long term? If you could, tell the people.
For the brand or for me?
For the brand and for you.
For the brand, short term, man, we finished the Contra Ipsum Fall Winter 22 collection pre-ordered tomorrow. That is a big chapter that we are officially like are gonna start to close. That was like a great experience, and then from here, we're really just gonna reevaluate. Look at those learning experiences, get those orders out. Obviously, once product starts coming back in, and as of right now, the future is to kind of just be at our disposal. Like we really don't. We have some items that we would like to see for the spring, but we're also learning that we don't really have to do a collection every season.
Yeah.
We can just drop product for and then find out where what I'm saying, our audience likes product the most, or when they like it the most. So that's it on a business level. And for me personally, man, it's finishing this year out. Like I said, homecoming coming up, so this is my Neo year. I'm trying to enjoy that. I am on the royal court, so I'm going to experience that for the first time. I've never been on a royal court. I've never been like a Mr. or anything like that. So me being Mr. Senior is kind of cool, like being able to, experience those things. Post grad, I'm trying to work in licensing and merchandising for the NBA, and potentially going to law school to study intellectual property. So
big moves, pretty much.
Yeah, man, just always.
So, what's some last bit of game you can give somebody on stepping out of their head in a sense, and getting into whatever they want to get into, and they may be hesitant about what advice?
Man, whenever people ask me like, what advice would you give somebody, I always think about what am I trying to work on right now? Because I ain't no different for anybody else. So I really just try to think like, what do I want to improve on? This is kind of just like surface level not even surface level, but like. I really think it is important to have some kind of like mental or spiritual stability. Like you can, like I'm someone that you ask me to do something, like, all right, I'm cool, like I can do that. I am the type to put too much on my schedule. But I also realize that there's a reason that you can take certain things on, and I think just making sure that you make time to get your mental health together, like making time to connect with God and things of that nature is something that's like really important. So as long as you kind of have that stability in those relationships and in that exercise itself, I think like anything that you really want to accomplish is achievable. So I would just say prioritize just making sure that your mental health is straight, but also just on a different side, not really on a preacher type, but like I would also say to like plan. I think that is a big thing. I think a lot of people don't plan, and I think like a lot of times we take on stuff and just like go with the flow. Like, oh, I gotta do this. I remember I gotta do this. I remember I gotta do this. I would say like literally like I said earlier, like just plan and write out at the top of the week, and then you know best what you can take and what you can't. So like evaluate it from that. I also like having an accountability partner, so like somebody that can like I can discuss these kind of things with. So that way when they're like, you sure you can do that? I'm like, maybe I can't do that because that's just a lot. So like, just being willing to have somebody that you can talk to about, just like your organization and things of that nature is something. I know I gave you like 3 things. But
it's real. It's helpful, it's real, and it can definitely give somebody some sort of direction. That's what we all looking for.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, those are the 3 things I would say.
So where can we find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at JefeCgram. That's JefeGraham, and then that's my Instagram, and then my business page is celui.co, and that is the same as the website. There's no .com, it's just celui.co. Again, pre-orders in tomorrow.
Find it first before anybody else does. I appreciate it as always.
Right.
Peace.
For sure. Hey man, great questions, bro.
Nah, man, I appreciate it.
That's hard.
Nice and easy.
Sorry it took so long, man. I ain't other stuff going on, man.
Man, I get it. Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, man. Whenever you get it done, just send it to me.
Most
Tap in, man.
Of course.
For sure.